Hello and welcome. I am Scarberlock, and this is City of Heroes on the Rebirth server. We are with our brute, Quintessence Lass, who's level 43. 15 million XP earned, about 1.5 million to go to get to level 44 in our next superpower. Almost 31 million influence earned, and we are on a story arc for Janet Kellum, who says you've delayed the Craycomp release, but it won't be long before they manage to replace those discs you destroyed. We've got to keep that mind controlling program off the shelves once and for all, and I think I know how. Like any accomplished hacker, Justine Kelly knows a thing or two about viruses. She made a virus to cripple the operating system. Now we need you to just go put it into the Cray computer system. So we're going to go to Justine Kelly and get our virus, and then we're going to go. This is kind of like doing industrial espionage or whatever against the Cray. Don't feel too bad about it. I think they deserve it. They're evil in a way that most corporations on Earth could only dream about being evil because of how superpowered their evil is. I named the virus Banana Split because it's crazy just desserts. Get it? And we're going to get attacked. Oh boy, by the Malta. What are you doing? Flying? That's just great. I didn't know the sappers could fly. Yeah, we didn't read the rest of it, but okay, we're gonna go and upload the virus. Yeah, I really wish they had not programmed ambushes to occur while you're reading text. Because you pretty much have to cancel out of the text to fight the battle, and then you can't go back and finish reading the text. Now, my guess is that ambush was really set to go after a zone. And we just zoned so fast and moved over there so fast that he didn't get a chance to attack us. But yeah, as I've said before, I think ambushes are this really cool idea that they just didn't implement right. Originally, they would attack you. Originally, they would like show up wherever you were when the ambush was triggered, and then when you left the zone, they would like aggro to other people and stuff, and then they had to fix that, and eventually they said, okay, we'll have it like done after the first time you zone so that you don't leave them behind. But we move so fast as superheroes through the zones, the villains can't really keep up, and certainly the AI can't keep up because it doesn't, it's not able to predict where you're going to go, and so this often leads to awkward ambushes like we just saw. Okay. So I just got I'm sorry, I was just distracted because I was reading a long message from a friend of mine. I just asked him a while ago how his D&D games are going, and he sent me a long answer. Sounds like they're all going well. Um, he's made some decisions I wouldn't have made. He said in his Waterdeep game, when we talked sort of verbally over Discord using chat, he pretty much said that his Waterdeep game he's not super thrilled with, and the main reason he wants it to keep going. Right? He said I would have quit it, except I really like the character I'm playing, and and then he said I wanted to keep going, and I'm like, why do you want? He's trying to talk the DM into continuing the campaign after Waterdeep is over. And I said, why do you want to continue the campaign after Waterdeep is over if you're not really enjoying it? And his basic answer is he wants to level the character up. And this shows a dramatic difference between him and me when it comes to this, because if I'm not enjoying the game, I don't care how much the character levels up. Like, what's the point of that? I want to have fun, right? And I guess for some folks, and maybe for him now, although I don't feel like he used to be this way, the leveling up is the fun. And I think this is where the MMO mentality comes in. I think MMOs have sort of trained him to think in terms of grinding and leveling up and thinking about endgame and the character at endgame. Like, there isn't an endgame pretty much in D&D. There really isn't. Um, Hardly anybody ever plays to level 20, in fact, because it's so hard to DM at that level because the characters are basically gods, and how do you challenge gods? I mean, you're going to have to run a campaign of like a cosmic war or something. I've already mentioned in my game that I didn't really think about in any real way the high level game. I just said, well, we'll go to level 20, not thinking about it, having never played D&D past level 5 or 6. It's not that I didn't know that spells like Wish and Resurrection existed, but I didn't really think about how you have to completely change the way the game plays from, say, a dungeon crawl in the lower levels to like planar adventures where you're not just going to the planes, but you're like conquering them or wiping an entire level of hell out of demons or fighting Orcus like in person. And and you can't go through Orcus's dungeon because it'll be super easy to do that. So it's got to be some other kind of a challenge. I'll be honest, I don't really even know what challenges you put in front of characters that are that high of a level. And so for my own game, I've kind of decided that I'm going to cut down the number of milestones, and instead of trying to get them through one level per adventure, it's going to be more like half a level per adventure, which I'm sure is going to disappoint this friend of mine because, he'd really like to go to 20th level, but I don't think he wants to go to 20th level because, like, the campaign won't be any shorter, right? It's still going to be 20 adventures, and the adventures are going to be the same length. I'm just probably not going to give out as much experience. I'm not going to work to add, the way I've been doing, extra milestones to get them to level. We're just going to do the milestones of completing the parts of the adventure that relate to the main campaign. And if they do other stuff, I just won't call, you can do them, but I'm not going to call them milestones or level you up from them. The way I've been going, like before, I've been giving a lot of experience for side quests and stuff just so I could level them up. Now what I'm going to do is be like, well, if you want to go on the side quest, that's fine, but it's not going to gain you any experience. Right? You can do it because it's what your character would do, but or because you want treasure. But I'm not going to give experience. Now I'm not going to tell them which quests are main quests and which are side quests. It's just affecting how fast they're leveling up. Right? If I were doing story-based leveling, I was going to say you gain where there's no experience and the GM just tells you when you level. I would have said you gain a level originally after they found each kind of Rosetta Stone that they're looking for. And there are 16 of them. They find the first one at 5th level, and the last one would be at 20th. And all I'd be doing now is saying every other Rosetta Stone, I'm going to say you gain a level. It's not changing how many Rosetta Stones they're going to find. Pardon me while I sneeze. I actually paused the video there because it took a few seconds for the sneeze to come, but I knew it was coming. Um, it's not changing the number of Rosetta Stones or really what I'm thinking of them doing. You know, one of the upcoming ones are going to be fighting a beholder, and who's going to be in kind of have taken over one of the. So the idea is after the Romans have been conquered, the evil guy and his slot army just move on to the next place because he's not interested in conquering the Roman Empire. He was interested in destroying it. He doesn't have any subjects. All of the Dragonborn are dead, so he's not interested in ruling humans. He just wants to destroy the Roman Empire. And so he blows away a city, and then he leaves its ruins and moves on to the next one. And my thought was, well, monsters move in, right? Maybe gnolls move into one place, orcs into another. And I was definitely planning on having like a beholder with a bunch of its like slave creatures, and it has sort of taken over one of these areas, and they're going to have to like defeat the beholder and that sort of thing. I mean, so those adventures are all going to be there. They're going to be as long and involved probably as I had intended them to be initially. The main difference is they're just going to not give as much XP. And more than anything else, I'm not going to artificially inflate the XP to try and make sure they gain a level at each adventure. And that means that we won't get to 20th level, but we're still going to, presumably if everybody wants to keep playing, we're still going to finish the entire campaign. The story isn't going to be any shorter. They're just going to level up less. And I think even so, this friend of mine, even though we've done like a 3-year campaign and saved the world and so on, he's going to, if they stop at 14th level, he's going to say, oh, I'm really bummed we didn't get to 20th level. He's very fixated on getting to high level and maxing his character out, which, in the past when we played D&D, I mean, we knew there was a level max out there, and there was sort of this idea that maybe someday we'll get there, but we weren't playing to max our characters. We were playing to play D&D. And so I don't know. I mean, he seems to like the playing of the D&D in most cases, but he's admitted that he doesn't really love the Waterdeep game, and that the DM is only so-so, and but he's trying to talk this DM that he admits isn't he's not enjoying the game of, right? Whose game he admits he's not enjoying, into continuing to run with a group of players that my friend is only lukewarm about playing with, also that he can level up his character. And this is a huge difference between him and me. He plays pickup groups in City of Heroes, and I don't. And what's fun is he said, pickup groups aren't that bad. I don't know why you don't like them. And I'm like, well, I'm not playing City of Heroes to have an experience that's not so bad. I'm playing City of Heroes to have an experience that's awesome. That's what's happening right now. I'm having an awesome experience playing this character. I love it. I play it every day. Now, I don't play it 4 hours every day the way he does, but with D&D, but I play it every day, and frankly, there are many days when I'm doing other things that I need to do, including working on D&D stuff, where I'd really rather be playing some more City of Heroes, but I said, well, I really need to work on this D&D map for tomorrow, or maybe I really need to get some work done. And so, I'm going to see if there's a boss. There doesn't appear to be. So that's probably where we have to put the virus. But let's go ahead and beat these guys up. So yeah, he just messaged me and said that the guy agreed, get this, in a campaign that my friend hasn't really been enjoying, and the DM didn't know if he really wanted to go past the end of Waterdeep, my friend has convinced this DM to run the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which is the only D&D campaign that runs to level 20. Starts at level 5. It takes place in Waterdeep. It's theoretically, geographically located, and level-wise located to be a sequel to Waterdeep Dragon Heist, except Waterdeep Dragon Heist is a heavy roleplay story-based game, and Dungeon of the Mad Mage is a dungeon crawl with like 25 dungeon levels, and you just crawl through it until your 20th level, fighting challenges that have been put there by an insane guy. So they're basically the different levels. I don't know anything about it, but my understanding is they don't have to be logical or related to anything relevant to the goals of the mage, because the mage is just crazy. So you don't ask yourself, well, why is this bunch of orcs sitting in this dungeon here, and then the next thing over is a minotaur? You don't have to ask that because, well, he's a crazy mage, and he put the minotaur in here because he's nuts, right? And I think that's kind of how it works. I've never played it. But as I understand it, it's incredibly long. I mean, they're going to be playing for a year. Well, probably way more than that. A couple of years. If it's 26, I think it's 25 or 26 dungeon levels. I mean, even if you got a dungeon level done every other session, it would take a year. And my guess is many of these dungeon levels are going to take more than 1 or 2 sessions. So I can't imagine how long this is going to be. And the idea to me of sticking with a campaign whose DM I only kind of think is okay, and the other players I only kind of like playing with, just so I can get my character to 20th level. You can go to D&D Beyond and level your character up to 20 without going on any adventures if all you want to do is level them up. Now, I think part of it is he doesn't just want to level her up, he wants to play her at that level, right? He wants to be able to cast Wish and, Meteor Swarm and whatever other high-level, Power Word Kill and Pass Wall and all the other high-level spells, Teleport, that you generally don't get to cast in D&D. Because, hey, that's cool and fun, right? And I can understand that. But, it's sort of like this. I mean, if to get to 50th level, or to get to this level range, we'd had to do some kind of nasty, unpleasant stuff, or just stuff that was just sort of mediocre and not that enjoyable, I never would have gotten to this level. The only reason we're 43rd level and a half right now is because playing this character is so much fun that I can't stop. Um, so yeah, I don't know. He did say he wishes we were playing my game again tonight. That always makes me feel good when he says that. I guess he's enjoying it enough that he misses it on the weeks off, and that's good to hear. I certainly can't run every week. It would be way too much work. I wish I could, but there's just no way. And I'm not sure all the players could make it. I mean, like the one woman who's a mom, I think, she can handle, her little daughter can handle mommy not putting her to bed one set of every 14 nights. But if it became a weekly thing, I don't know, there might be little 2-year-old tantrums, right? Terrible twos. So, um, so yeah, I don't know. He and I clearly have a very different approach to how we play the game now, and to how we think about playing the game, which is really interesting because, as I've often said, I mean, he's pretty much the person who taught me to play D&D. We sort of taught each other, and we still like a lot of the same things in terms of gameplay, but we've also apparently grown quite apart when it comes to what we're looking for out of kind of the campaign experience. For me, I want a really cool story with people I enjoy playing with. And for him, that stuff would be like a bonus, but what he really wants is apparently to just level up his character and play it at the higher levels. I don't know. I I don't know what he thinks about, for instance, like the leveling pace we've had in my game. Their seventh. It took about a year to get to 7th level. I don't know if he thinks that's too fast or too slow. I suspect that early on he would have liked to level a little faster, mostly because he was afraid we were, not going to go that long, and then he'd never get to play his character to have some real power. Now at 7th level, they're starting to have some actual ability, some actual powers, and their stuff is starting to be a lot more effective. What they can do is starting to be a lot more effective, and they can do a lot more things a lot more frequently, right? So, I mean, the party is cast combined between him and the cleric, I think, 5 fireballs, and he can still cast a couple more. And, that idea that, well, we can cast 7 or 8 fireballs without resting is something that I think he's wanted to get to, and he was a little impatient to get to, mostly because in many games you never do. And, I know asking him, like, he lobbied for, let's start at 3rd level. And I said, but don't you want the enjoyment of going from 1st level where you can hardly do anything all the way up to a higher level? And he said, yes, he does. But the problem is most campaigns never ever get there. And so, so that's why he always lobbied for starting at a higher level. But I think because we have played for over a year, and he's gotten to enjoy the growth of his character, I think he probably is glad we started at 1st level, now that he's seen that this campaign has, for lack of a better term, gone the distance, which most campaigns don't. Matt Colville at one point made the comment, I think something like this. He said that most campaigns don't go a medium length. Most campaigns either die out in under 10 sessions, usually by the 6th or 7th session it stops and doesn't go any further, or he's like, if you get like to the 10th session, I can't remember what number, 9th, 10th session, you'll probably go the distance. You'll probably go as long as you want to go. You'll go a year, you go 2 years, 3 years, whatever. If you get there, right? But a lot of games, and he admitted many of his games, most of his games, don't get there, and consequently he's often restarting things at level 1 because some of the players couldn't make it anymore, or somebody tried D&D and said, I don't really like it, or people didn't like their characters and wanted to start over, or what have you. And so he kind of said, if your campaign is, in the double digits of sessions, you can probably go as long as you want. It'll keep going. And our campaign is nearly 30 sessions long. So I think that, it clearly has gone the distance, but you can't know before you start whether the campaign really is going to go the distance or not. You may intend to go the distance, but you can't know whether you actually will. And so I think that's the problem. I don't know if my friend would have expressed it that way, but I think certainly he was concerned. No, he knows that most campaigns don't go that far, and if you really want to get into at least into the upper single digit levels, sixth, seventh, eighth level, where your characters start getting more powerful, um, a lot of players try to start at third or even fifth level just so that they can get that higher level experience. Me, I always like starting right at the beginning, level 1, in the tutorial if it's COH, right? Okay, so we completed this mission and we're going to head out. So yeah, the Dungeon of the Mad Mage is a dungeon crawl, and I think I would love it because I really like dungeon crawls. I'm perfectly capable of generating all kinds of my own roleplay with my fellow party members in the middle of a dungeon crawl, so I don't really need like social encounters set up by the GM or something in order to do that. And so I love dungeon crawls because you can get into combat, you get to use your character's abilities in combat and stuff like that, but you also can roleplay as much or as little as you want, just in between the battles and the puzzles and the traps with your friends. And I enjoy a good old school dungeon crawl. I'd probably like Dungeon of the Mad Mage, although I don't know if I might get tired of it after a while. I remember my friends and I, in Neverwinter Nights, you could get 20 levels, and this guy had made a giant mega dungeon. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was basically 20 maps, 20 levels of dungeon. And each level was keyed to that level of character development. So you just went from the bottom to top to the bottom of the dungeon, and then you fought whatever it was at 20th level. And we made up a party to just go through this dungeon and level up every single level. And it took us a really long time, and we were super loving it at the beginning. And then by like level 15 or so, we were like, oh man, we just want to be over with this, because it became a grind. It became really tiring. Imagine this game. I've often said there are only 5 levels to an office building, but imagine an office building with 30 levels, and you've just got to go through every single one and clean them out. After a while, you're going to get tired. And so, we were logging into my friend's computer, doing this co-op twice a week, every week for like, I don't know, a couple months. And by the end, we were like, do we want to continue? And we said, yeah, let's just finish it, right? Because we've gotten this far. And then the thing that really upset us was when we got to the end, the guy had a bug in his code. So when we went to open up the big treasure chest at the end, where it like grants you a class-based item, like your paladin gets a holy avenger or whatever, and it says that at the end you get this great reward, like an artifact or something. He had a bug in his code, like an endless loop. When one of us opened up the chest, it just froze the game for all of us, and we had to like shut down our computers and restart. And we tried this 2 or 3 times, and I was like, okay, let me look in the code. And I looked in the code, and I'm like, yeah, he's got a syntax error. And the thing was, I couldn't fix it because I could fix it on my computer, but not on my friend's computer. And I couldn't send him the repair for it online because it had already been compiled. And so I could fix it, and if we restarted the adventure, it would be fixed. So I think what we ended up doing was I logged into his computer as a game master. I teleported their 2 characters to a separate room with the proper magic items in it. Like, I looked in the code to see what magic items he would grant us. And then one of them logged in as a GM and teleported me there. And then we all just picked up, the items were just on the floor and we just picked them up. So, okay, that's the reward. Not like it matters. Our characters are 20th level and we can't play them anymore. But after all that, we wanted the reward. So, I mean, it was cool at the beginning. And then the last couple of levels were just such a grind. And then, of course, the capper was he had a bug in his code that generated an endless loop, and we couldn't even finish it, which is kind of frustrating. Anyway, Janet says, did Justine let you clue in her little secret? The virus she constructed not only wiped out the mind control, it also accessed secret files from within the Cray network and sent them to every customer in Cray's email database. Thousands of people just received documents proving that Cray's products are dangerous and addictive, and that Cray's been using their computer systems for illegal surveillance. And best of all, Countess Cray had those charges against you fabricated. I just got a call from the mayor, and you got a clean slate once again. All right, so now for the last few weeks, we've been in close contact with Ralph Jameson. Oh, no, wait. Thanks to the virus you uploaded to the Cray network, thousands of people just received incriminating Cray documents to their email. Talk about a smoking gun. It's official Quintessence last. They've issued a warrant against Countess Cray. You just need to track her down. Okay, so we're going to go fight Countess Cray. Oh, we need to find her to defeat 100 Cray. You know what we're going to do with that, because that is an insane and absurd mission. We're just going to auto-complete it. And now we know where the Countess is. So she's going to have us go after the Countess in Steel Canyon, and of course we're going to stop off. Oops, going the wrong way. We're going to stop off in Atlas Park. Oh no, we have Steel Canyon. We can do. We're going to stop off at the center of the city area and just change our mission difficulty. I think I'm going to drop it to +1 because I'm assuming she's an elite boss, and elite bosses are tough enough at +1. This is the sort of thing where if I weren't recording, I might just try her at +3 and then slowly reduce it. But because I'm recording and I don't want you guys to watch a whole chunk of an episode that then leads to nothing, because I have to restart the mission or something, I'd rather just set it to a safe difficulty, and then we'll set it back to +3 after we're done with Countess Cray. So +1, there should be absolutely no problem. That maxes her out at +2 at the most. So there should be no trouble with a +2 or lower elite boss. She'll either be +1 or +2, so she'll be level 44 or 45. So this is probably our last mission at level 43 that I'm going to record. And then I'll get us to level 44 off screen and bring you back for the level 44 story arc, whatever arc I'm on. And that'll probably be it for this season. So we got about, probably, my guess would be 5-6 more episodes this season after this one at level 44. Depends on what story arc we end up with and how long it takes. So yeah, it's very interesting going back to this friend of mine and his mentality, which is all about like the different characters he wants to create and how he wants to get them all to level, at least in the teens, and maybe to level 20, rather than about the adventures he wants to go on. Whereas for me, I'm all about like the adventures I want to go on and the experience of playing the game. Yeah, it's really interesting. I wonder how he would approach like Champions, since Champions doesn't have any leveling and you basically don't get that much more powerful as a character. You get not very much more powerful at all. You just get a few points for each scenario. And so, I mean, if you do it the way I used to do it, where each scenario takes 3 sessions, in the old days we played every, once or twice a week. We did, basically we had standing, my friends and I had a standing, quote unquote date with each other, every Friday, Saturday. And so we would do sessions on Friday, Saturday, and then on Saturday we'd all go to the movies, or we'd play a different game, or I don't know, go bowling or whatever. And that gave me time to then prep the next scenario. Champion scenarios don't take anywhere near the amount of prep as a D&D adventure because they don't last as long, at least the way I run them. And a scenario's not really even a full story arc of City of Heroes. It's more like a couple of missions that are connected together. And even the missions would be very short. You don't go through a base fighting like 25 battles to beat up all these agents. Like, you just don't do that in Champions. It's not fun. I mean, it would be boring. Agents are weak. Um, and you play champions to fight supervillains, not agents. I mean, you fight agents a little bit, but nobody's gonna. No GM that I ever played with set up a base like this. That's like this huge base with all these rooms, and you're just fighting the same agents over and over again. It'd be freaking boring. um, there's no purpose to doing that. In Dungeons and Dragons, the reason you get so many encounters at a time, like so many encounters in a dungeon, is because part of the MO of Dungeons and Dragons is that you're wearing the party down in between rests, right? For instance, they talk about how you know it's expected that you're going to fight 6 to 8, have 6 to 8 encounters that use up resources per long rest, and so dungeons have to be full of encounters, traps, puzzles, and monsters to fight because otherwise the GM isn't draining your resources, and then whatever battles the GM may have come up with for you are too easy because you're always at full resource. But in Champions, unless your character takes massive body damage and gets put into the hospital, after a battle is over, everybody gets fully recovered in all their stun and endurance. Much like in City of Heroes, we can start almost every battle at full ability. Is this her? No. And so I'm going to fight these guys, and when I'm done with these guys, when I come to the next set of guys, I have full ability. So they're not like draining me of limited resources. They're not making me use up things that I, maybe in a hard adventure, a hard mission, you'd be using up some of your inspirations, and then eventually, when you get to the end, you don't have any inspirations left. That's kind of the way almost all D&D adventures are sort of set up. But Champions adventures aren't set up that way because there aren't very many limited use elements to that game unless you take the limitation charges or limited uses. And most people don't have charges on all their powers, just a few. And most superheroes have plenty of abilities they can use just over and over again in each different individual battle. And so it's stylistically very different. But if you assume 3 sessions per adventure per scenario of Champions, and you're getting about 3 or 4 experience per scenario, basically you're getting roughly an XP per session. After playing all this time, we're on like session 28 or something, my group, if this were Champions instead of D&D, would have gained exactly maybe 30 experience. 30 points of power. That's really not all that much. Right? You're going from a 250 to a 280 point character. Yes, you're a little more powerful. Your multi-power might be 50 active points now instead of 45, with 5 point slots instead of 4 point slots, and so that's like 10 points worth of experience that you sent. Is that her? There she is, elite boss level 44, so she's +1. She should be no problem, but we'll clean out the room first. Maybe you gained a few skills, and maybe you bought off 5 points worth of a disadvantage. That's really not making your character that much more powerful. The power difference between a 250 and a 280 point character is nowhere near the power difference between a 7th level D&D character and a 1st level D&D character. And so, yeah, I don't know how we would react to Champions now, because you don't really gain power quite that much. And yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how he behaved in a Champions context regarding like gaining powers and experience and stuff. So we're cleaning this out because for 2 reasons. One, we don't want them to somehow get involved, although it's very unlikely that these guys would have gotten involved, but also because, as you've seen in other episodes, we have to clean out the villains in a certain radius around the boss for it to count that we have defeated the boss. Now this should be far enough, I think. So now we're ready to go after Countess Cray. We'll need our inspirations here, but we should be fine. Alright, Countess. Me and you, baby. Oh, she's psionic. That's bad. Why is every mega villain psychic? That's really annoying. Yeah, I guess they made a lot of the mega villains psychic because they knew nobody has psychic defense. Or hardly anybody does. So they could guarantee you could do more, it could do more damage to you, I guess, or hit you more often. I don't know. I'm waiting for her Omega Strike. But maybe I've got her debuffed enough that she can't hit me with it. And there she is, defeated. That was too easy. I guess I should have left it on +2. We got some reward merits. By the way, I have not gotten any reward merits in the last several draws of decks. I think I mentioned that in an earlier episode. So it's going to be a while before we can get Touch of Death for this character. Okay, wow. That got us a whole bead. And Janet says, excellent work, Quintessence last. Simply excellent. The Countess is in jail. Her known assets are frozen, and there's a good chance she'll be convicted. I did get special permission for Pamela Thompson to visit her. You remember Pamela, mother of Julianne Thompson, the girl who assumed another woman's identity so that she could become the all-powerful Countess Cray. I thought Mrs. Thompson might like seeing her daughter even in these circumstances. Well, it's sad, but the Countess wouldn't even speak to her. I guess there's really nothing left of the girl she used to be. That is pretty sad. Okay, guys. How long has it been? Oh, it's 36 minutes, so I think we're good. We've completed this story arc. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and level this character up. I might do a story arc off screen to get her to level 44. And then once we're level 44 and we've got another story arc, I will bring you back to do the level 44 story arc. So until next time, I am Scrapperlock. And this has been City of Heroes on the Rebirth server.